We're going to talk about the Cove cards and their attributes. Now that you know how to lay everything out, we're going to tell you how they work.
Yep.
What you see right here are all your basic 9 Cove cards, and I've got them divided in 2 areas so I could better explain something. I thought I was clear, and then I started getting the same question over and over, and at one point I looked at the card and I was like, oh snap, I think that does fall on my shoulders of messing up wording. All of these in this section, beach, alley, hills, open field, creek, town, and woods, are all very specific because they're telling you what happens. At the start of your turn, this happens. You may draw during your draw phase. Defense doesn't affect you. All these things, it's labeled on the card when it takes effect. The 2 that we're getting the most goofs on, and it's because of the way I worded it, you may add 1 or 2 spaces to your move phase. People are guessing, well, can I add this in the middle of a move? Because technically it is on my move phase. Every single Cove card takes effect once you're rested on them. For example, this is the good one. If a player lands on this space, they must immediately discard 1 card. I could not think of a better way to say it. It's not when they pass through it, it's when they stop and land on it. And there was just simply no other way for me to say it. And here's why there's confusion. Because we can't say during your move phase, because I could move Brian on my turn, I could move his pawn on there, and he still has to immediately discard 1, and it's not his move phase. If a player stops on this space, again, not passes through, then they immediately lose 1 card. Now they could choose whether they want to lose it from their hand or from their option deck. It's their choice, but they have to discard 1.
Right.
And again, discard face down.
Yep.
The other one again is the highway. The highway, it's when you're starting your turn. Just like all these, it's when your character is at rest. So on the beginning of my next turn, instead of moving my 1 or 2 spaces, I will now be able to move 1 to 4 spaces.
Yep.
So that's a good benefit of stopping on a highway, because your next turn it'll give you a major boost.
Yep.
I think that covers it.
I think that's it.
We're going to talk a little bit about Cove placement. When you place a Cove down, it has to at least be touching 1 flat edge. So here, as long as 1 of your edges are touching, you're good. And you can't touch more than 2 other corners. So for example, 1 corner, 2 corners. I can never put it in a position where now I'm touching 1, 2, 3 or more corners. Your corner must always be 2 or less. So I could put the card here or so forth. But remember, 1 flat edge at least, and no more than 2 other corners touching your corner.
Yeah, you can't box them in.
Do not box them in.
Don't do it.
Don't be violent.